Welcome to the table with me, Rosana Santos, Calambichis. For over 2 decades across the food industry, from running operation where every margin had to be earned, protected, and defended, to helping build operations that last, I have learned what allows a food business to endure. This is the Food Business Blueprint podcast. This episode is different from the others. Today, I want to talk about the question that started everything. What makes the food business endure? Across those years, I've watched businesses open with a real promise and close before they should have. In many cases, the food was exceptional. The people were deeply talented. Some of the most skilled operators I have ever met were running businesses that still closed. The closures were quieter than that. A cash flow problem that compounded slowly until it grew beyond what anyone could manage. A concept that worked at one location and strained under the weight of a team that performed brilliantly under one set of conditions and struggled when the conditions changed. A business that grew its revenue and lost ground on its margins at the same time. The pattern was consistent enough that I stopped treating each closure as an isolated event. I started asking a different question, less about why one business closed, more about what the ones that last actually share. There was a business I watched closely over several years. Good concept, a loyal following, an entrepreneur who worked harder than almost anyone I had seen in this industry. From the outside, everything pointed towards longevity. What I came to understand over time was that the business ran on instinct, on the operator's talent and energy rather than on structure. Beneath the surface, the systems, the financial clarity, and the resilience that carry a business through change had never been built. When the conditions changed, and they always do, there was not a structure underneath to hold it. That business closed. That operator had skill and commitment and abundance. It closed because no one had ever handled them the framework that might have carried it. That moment is part of why I built what I built. So, what do the enduring ones share? They know where their profit comes from precisely. They build systems before they need them. The structure is in place before the pressure arrives. They plan for change by building for it. Operations ready to absorb disruption and continue without depending on any single person, product, or circumstances. They treat longevity as the measure more than any single quarter, any launch, any review or recognition. The measure is whether the business is still standing, still serving, and still growing years from now. The food industry celebrates openings, it celebrates concepts, aesthetics, and moments. The entrepreneur still standing a decade in deserves far more attention than the industry tends to give. Longevity is a quiet work. It rarely photographs well. It is also the truest measure of whether a food business was built or merely launched. The framework that separates enduring businesses from those that close early is open to any operator, whatever their advantages or background. It can be studied, understood, applied by any operator willing to build with intention. That is the inspiration behind the Enduring Table, the book, and the work this podcast is built to support. Thank you for joining me at the table. Until next time, this is the Food Business Blueprint Podcast.